Hey guys, I'm learning TFT and I'm sharing my learnings with you so that you can learn and I can learn better as well. In this video, I'm excited to share with you a discussion that took place today on Aesah's TFT Pro Plus coaching program, where we talk about how to position key units in set 16, where Aesah led the discussion and a number of the members of the group had high level strategic discussion on how to position units that have characteristics that really want to have specific positioning situations. And so these are the key units that we went over. Just as a quick tip, I'll include timestamps in the description below to each of these units. The ones that really jumped out at me that I learned a lot from are Nidalee, where you could basically prevent an enemy melee unit from working because of her invulnerability. And Mel specifically, a lot of players are positioning Mel incorrectly, including top PBE players like Prestevant. And there's a way to be able to optimize her to both deal more damage and to proc her radiant item earlier in the game. So those are very key big distinction points, but all of these units, the discussion that we had here should be able to help you gain placements by understanding these units in more detail, how to optimally play position with them, and therefore also how to optimally position against them. So with that said, I hope you enjoy this coaching session with Aesah. Also, I want to shout out my TFT Dojo, a community and tech-driven training program that Virtual and I are building. Take a look in the description below if you want to join the waitlist for that, as earlier applicants will be accepted first. So with that said, I hope you're able to learn as much as I did from this discussion with Aesah.
So basically, Qiyana can only dash one hex. So in order to just put all these other units down here for now, in order to maximize her value, she needs to start on one of these hexes. So the best way to do this, I guess, is it's a little bit dangerous starting her here because they have a corner carry. They could target her, so maybe if maybe you can start her second row behind your tank on the side. You can start on the far hex as well, so right here, and then so your tank still takes aggro, but then she walks up. So I think Qiyana should probably always be second row on the side.
I've been putting her on the third hex in between two tanks. Is that not gonna work?
Third row, like here?
No, like the third hex on the first row on either side.
Like here?
Yeah, or 5 over.
Yeah, I mean she can't dash here, so this would only hit one unit.
Oh, she can't
She
dash
can only
behind.
dash one hex. I'm not 100% sure about a lot of these, but I think she can only dash one hex.
Got it.
What about A1?
Yeah.
Because that is her highest win rate X, even though it's low frequency.
This will probably work if your tank is here, right? So your Qiyana, in theory, never gets targeted first. I'm just a little bit nervous about the targeting rules. I've been seeing quite a lot of bug reports about. Basically, I think, I don't know. I think the set is designed in a way that the Nico should always get hit first by Jhin in this exact configuration. But I've just been seeing a lot of bug report videos where Qiyana is targeted first here. So yeah, I'm not sure. You could definitely try it out and just see if this works, I guess. Yeah, I would think the frequency of the win percent is not that relevant, right? Because most boards with Qiyana on the final board are not carrying Qiyana. If we look at...
These should be per round stats though, right? Not just end board state, because the meta TFT has that data as they go along.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think that's fair. It's per round stats. I'm just a little bit not sure because a lot of the per round stats are not based on where the unit is best is, just because it might not be your best carry. Let me just take a screenshot of these so I don't have these cluttering up the board. Put it here for now. What's a unit with a pretty straightforward ability? Ari maybe is a pretty straightforward ability. It's usually placed here. And what about Twist of Fate? I think I'm just hesitant to use these stats because a lot of times it's not actually where the unit is best. It's just where the unit is on the board that's winning the most rounds. Does that make sense?
Yeah, like if someone else is the main carry, but they're a trait bot or something.
Yeah, basically that. That being said, if Jin, I don't know if they're gonna have this fixed by live. If Jin never targets Qiyana here, you save her a step of having to walk up, which is nice. Walking up takes about 1 auto attack, which, I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm sure we've all experienced fights where we lose by 1 auto. So I think this would absolutely work. I think you can do the same thing on the other side as well. Yeah, I think either side will work.
Like if Qiyana was not your main carry, I feel like you would probably put it in more of the middle squares where the frequency is higher, but when she's main carry, you'd probably want to put her on the side like that.
Not necessarily. I don't really see. I don't really. I mean, it depends who your main carry is, I guess. But I feel like you would generally, like we're talking stage 2 and stage 3, where you actually like care about her as a unit. I think you would generally want to try to hit 2 units with Qiyana. But I guess it's like you said, if you have like a more important unit that you need to prioritize the side position for, then you can deprioritize the Qiyana. But I would think like regardless of whether she's itemized or whatever, you want her to be hitting two targets. I think like the frequency is also like I personally don't really like looking at any of these. Like the frequency is I think the frequency is completely irrelevant, honestly. Because I think like most people don't even know Qiyana what she does. In fact, I'm not even like 100% sure she can dash a maximum of 1 hex. Like I think she can, but I'm not sure. Maybe I can find some games where I play Qiyana. Yeah, like she doesn't dash here. She's already hitting 2 here. Oh, so she can dash more than 1 hex. Okay, so I was wrong about that. I mean, this changes a lot. Yeah, because the enemy Qiyana dashes 1.5 hexes here. I don't know if she can dash 2 though. So yeah,
When does
honestly,
she
I guess I'm not
dash?
sure.
Dash, though?
What'd you say?
Sometimes she dashes, sometimes she doesn't.
Yeah, like she can't dash 2 here. So I think she can dash 1.5, which is actually good to know. Because this would be 2 hex dash. Oh wait, she can't. She's attacking Cho'Gath. That doesn't work actually. 1 hex. And this is 1.5. I guess she would never dash 2 hexes because she's always attacking the same target. So yeah, but she can dash 1.5 here. Okay, I mean this completely changes everything that I was talking about. That's
Could it be
embarrassing. That's
related
okay.
to how she aims her spell? Like maybe because she wants to do a 2-hex line for her cast, so maybe she's dashing to the hex that would let her, like, the next available hex next to the target, in which she'll fire the hex in the line, or the through two.
Yeah,
units.
she's always trying to hit the maximum amount of targets. I think if she doesn't have to move, again, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel fairly confident if she doesn't have to move to hit 2 targets, she never moves. Not 100% sure, but pretty sure. But if she does have to move, then she can move a maximum of 1.5, basically like this. She would never actually move 2 hexes, right? Because that would just put her over here, and then she'd just be attacking the same unit. Or like she would never be hitting 2 units this way. So she can dash here from here. I guess it doesn't matter that much as long as she's not in the middle then. But being on the side still seems like it would give you the highest dash chance.
A5 doesn't work either, right? Because you wouldn't get to the very right.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5. This would work because she can dash
sorry.
here.
If there was another unit in that spot.
Another unit where?
Or if there was
Like
another
here?
yeah.
Yeah, then you would need to be here because this is too far. So she would basically have to be. Yeah, basically this is the furthest dash distance for Qiyana.
Okay.
I think in general it's probably not too important to think too much about it. Just make sure she's on the edge. But yeah, I'm not again. Still, we didn't watch that much footage, so I'm not 100% sure how a lot of these units work. Next up is Caitlyn. There's a few ways Caitlyn shoots at the furthest enemy. She doesn't need to be further away, so there's been a few ways to. I guess if you have long shot, being further is better. There's been like a few ways to do this. I think some people like middle, and then you kind of split there. I mean, this is like Battle Academia Caitlyn from last set. So I think there's like a few ways to do it. You can just do like your front lines on the side, for example. And then you'll shoot across the other side, maximum distance, nothing blocking it. Same thing on this side. If you're playing against it, you can either block it by being on the same side or having a carry in front. It's a little bit risky because they'll probably have their strong tanks, which means these units might walk. If you really have a filler range unit, which I don't think is that common, you can block with it in the middle. I think this grid looks pretty weird. Like this doesn't look like it's a straight line, but I'm pretty sure middle hex blocks it. But you're probably not actually going to do this. But yeah, there's a few different ways to do it. You could also if you don't have long shot, you could even do middle Caitlyn and something like this. And this almost always will clear a path as well. Or wait, hold on. Where's it? I think I got a little confused. I think this clears a path, but I'm not 100% sure. I think the most reliable is probably just to shoot through the middle with Caitlyn in the corner. Similar to Battle Academia Caitlyn from last patch or last set.
Do you ever do like offset, like where you like have Caitlyn in one quarter or like in the center or like one side, and then your front line like opposite her to draw their front line, like clear
Here?
the path? Like yeah, like so say yeah, like on this side for example, like say Caitlyn's like in the corner and Jin's where Jin
here?
is.
Wait, corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So in A or D1, I guess, and Jin's where Jin is. And then like, would you put like to draw their front line away from Jin, presuming they don't have like another unit in the back line? If you wanted to snipe Jin, would you not like offset your front line, from away, like more towards the center, I guess, to like draw their front line? and open the path, or
Yeah, I think shooting across is more reliable, but you could also try to shoot directly with your front line like this. But I think it's more reliable to just try to shoot across like this. Because this is 1.5, 3, 3.5, like 4.5 hexes. Wait, is that right? 1.5, 3, 4.5, 5.5 hexes. But this is already 3, 4 hexes here. I guess it's more so they have backliners, like their frontliners on the other side are never going to be further. But if they have something like right here, for example,
yeah,
you're not shooting their. I guess the reason shooting across is better is most people have their strongest carry in the corner. So let's say they have their itemized Jhin over here. If you try to shoot across, if they have any other backliners, you're actually not going to target them first. But if you shoot across the map like this, you're shooting their corner unit first.
yeah. So it's like really niche. It's like maybe like really early scam fights.
I just don't see why you would need to when you can just shoot
Yeah.
across.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like if there's a reason you needed to do that, then I think it could be good. But I just don't really see why you would ever need to do it, as opposed to doing this basically.
Oh yeah, I feel like maybe like in situations where like you might get, I guess it probably depends. You'd probably get positioned against anyway. Like, but like sometimes like if their front line is like really strong, and so you're not necessarily going to be able like if their front line gets in front of Caitlyn, it'll tank the shot before Jhin like casts. But if you could like scam win a fight by like getting their front line to move out of the way, and then you take out Jhin, and then you win.
Yeah. Well, you're always trying to do that, but I think like the most reliable way to do that is to shoot diagonally across the map. Is what I'm saying.
Oh yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
you're still trying to shoot Jhin first. But I'm saying like shooting diagonally is more reliable than shooting like straight across.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just same as Battle Academia Caitlyn from last patch or last set.
Question.
Let me just double check that real fast. Go ahead.
Only because this came up. I saw that Caitlyn can miss her ult. Like, she can fire the bullet and have it hit nothing. I don't know if that was true of Battle Academia Caitlyn, but is there ways to, like, avoid that? Or, like, is there any...
I saw that happen
Is
with
that-
Vayne in a game I played where Vayne rolled and then Vayne dodged the Caitlyn ult.
Yeah, I don't know what circumstances trigger necessarily, but now I'm kind of wondering if that factors into the positioning, if there's like a position from which she's more or less likely to completely whiff, because obviously whiffing an ultimate is like really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't seen that. I don't know anything about it.
All right, no biggie.
I would imagine shooting across starting from the corner still covers the most surface area, but I'm not sure. Because I'm thinking basically the reason she would miss is only if the enemy units move. But when you're across, they should be moving towards you. But yeah, I haven't. I don't know anything about that, unfortunately. I feel like it's going to be a bit too hard to find data for it, or to find footage.
Okay.
Okay, next, Rek'Sai. Very important positioning dependent unit. I think Rek'Sai is pretty straightforward for this enemy within 3 hexes. I don't know where Rek'Sai appears, unfortunately. It's kind of hard to find. Maybe I could use Meta TFT's VOD library. Oops. Oh, I don't even know if they're going to have set 16 VODs. Yeah. Do I have any games where I know I played a Rek'Sai? I'm not sure.
Wang was playing Rek'Sai earlier on her stream at some point. I don't know if she keeps VODs.
Okay, what's the name?
Emily Wang. I don't know if she has a stream of her. It was probably like midway because she streamed at like what? If she might even still be streaming. It was probably around like 1 o'clock maybe. It's like a Rek'Sai reroll game, I think, from Worth the Wait. It's like maybe
Okay.
halfway through.
Did more people get
So this is from today.
Yeah, it was like she was streaming all this. It was like earlier.
It's from today, you said?
I think, yeah, I believe it was Worth the Wait too. I think it was like middle of whenever she was like before the tournament. It was like one of her last games. Like,
Okay, here we go.
it might be, yeah, this one.
Also playing against a Rek'Sai, how convenient. 3 Rek'Sais to watch. Okay, so I guess I'll pause at the start of the fight and see where I think they would go. So they go furthest, and it's furthest enemy within 3 hexes, I believe. So what I would expect to have happen here is this Rek'Sai would go to attack Gameplank, and the question is, does it appear here or here, like closer or further? I would think it would be. I guess I'm not sure, but I expect it to be consistent. So let's just say it's further, so it goes here. Then this Rek'Sai should go to the left of Swain. This Rek'Sai should go to the right of Swain. These units might move, especially this Rek'Sai is probably gonna kill a unit here. Okay, that's kind of fast. I was trying to watch more than one at a time. I'm just gonna watch this left Rek'Sai for now. Focus on this leftmost Rek'Sai. And it goes to the right, the far of Swain. But this one close to Gameplank. Why is that? Was Belveth covering this spot? So I'm gonna watch this Radiant Last Whisper Rek'Sai. It should go. Yeah, Belveth is blocking here. So either way, it should be attacking the Gameplank, which it does, and it can't go to where Belveth is because it's too far. It does seem that the other Rek'Sais both went as far as possible. Okay, let's watch one more fight. Go earlier in the game will probably be easier, actually. So this one should go behind Shen or Jarvan. They're both, or Shen is further, so I think it should go on the edge of the map here, like between Shen and Kog'Maw, which it does. That one was a little bit weird because Yasuo dashed at the same time, but probably fine. This one should dash furthest unit within 3 hexes is Rumble, so I think it should go in between all 3 of these units and hit the Rumble. Well, it goes this way. Is that further? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Yeah, so I guess this is further. So Rek'Sai dashes as far as she can, hitting the units, is my guess. This one should go to Jarvan, so it should be either here or here. They're the same distance. Yeah, same distance. Okay. I guess it doesn't matter that much exactly where Rek'Sai ends up. Just know that it dashes furthest within 3 hexes, so you can't immediately hit backline with like a standard positioning, but maybe if there's a way to get Rek'Sai to walk up, then you can.
I was watching Dusso play earlier today, and he said something about like corner being bad against Rek'Sai. He was ranting after something. I can't remember exactly what, but it sounds like he thought it was like possible for Rek'Sai to go after a corner.
Yeah, if you let Rek'Sai walk up, so like either if basically like if my opponent is positioned like this, I can absolutely jump their carry. Because I'll use Cho'Gath as my tank. Rek'Sai walks up, it jumps to Jhin. I guess in this exact scenario, it would jump to Shen. But if their board, I don't know, this is like a stage 2 board, right? If their board looked like this, for example, then I absolutely could jump to their backline. If they're shifted over to the left, same thing, I would still jump to their corner either way. I have to be here, though. I guess this is similar to kind of what we were talking about with Qiyana, where you just want Rek'Sai to walk up into their side of the map, because all the 4 Hex Assassins such a Supreme Cell Collie, you start here, right? And this is 4 hexes away without her moving. But 3 hex assassins, you actually want them to walk up, and then you can hit their corner. So I would think you always. I know I just was learning TFT not to use the win rates, but I think the sides like have the highest win rates. I don't know. Like not looking at their win rates, the side is to me clearly the best because if your opponent is not positioning against it, like if they're doing something like this, your Rek'Sai walks up and now you can go into the corner. Same thing on this side. If your opponent is positioned like this, which again I think this is like a pretty normal positioning for people to use, or if they use this, either one, your Rek'Sai walks up into their side and now it goes into their corner. So I think Rek'Sai is probably, I guess I'm kind of curious on the frequency. Yeah, it doesn't seem people are doing Rek'Sai on the far side that often. Again, this might be because Rek'Sai is not a key unit in their composition. But I think it should be pretty reliable because most people are not doing this, right? But this is what you would need to do against Rek'Sai. Alternatively, is there anything else safe you can do? Not really, right? Like if Rek'Sai walks to your side, it's not really that safe. Even if you do something like this, for example, Rek'Sai will still go to your backline, potentially. Because what'll happen is they'll do this, and then the furthest unit will still be this Jhin. So yeah, in order to protect yourself from Rek'Sai, you have to have a unit here. I don't really see any other way around it.
Their Shens could be on A2, A3, right?
A2, oh here?
Or no, I mean, they're A. If we invert,
Oh here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true. You're right. Yeah, Rek'Sai won't walk up here.
But
Yeah,
the
so
opposite is
this will
not
work.
true if you invert it to the other side, so it's
Yeah.
safer on this side.
Yeah. So on this side, you would need a unit here. But so on your corner, if you use left corner, you can have a unit here. But if you use right corner, you have to block this square. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't know if we've seen any 3-hex assassins recently. But yeah, I think that's pretty interesting. So definitely try this out with Rek'Sai. I think there's definitely some edge to be gained. I've been watching and playing some games. I haven't seen that many people go for this, but it seems pretty good to me.
Did we cover
Right.
Briar, by the way? I forget if you were going in cost order or if you're.
I am going on cost order. I did not talk about Briar yet. Yeah, Briar is a 2-hex jump. For this hexes unit within 2 hexes, I imagine it should be pretty similar to Rek'Sai, where you want her to like kind of walk up, because sometimes people might position like this. For example, I feel like if you're just playing TFT, seeing your opponent position like this is pretty normal, right? Like I don't think this is like unusual from your opponent. But then if you have Briar, it'll walk up here. Now the furthest unit within 2 hexes is their backline. If you're positioned like this, I guess these units need to not move also. So something.
What if
Something
you
holding
were
them there.
opposite side with Briar? Would it, if we assume, and I don't know if this is a good assumption, if we assume Briar jumps to the furthest hex to attack 2 hexes away, like let's say you put Briar on the opposite side front line,
Like here?
Yeah, like wouldn't it
Yeah.
go to the same spot? Like,
It would go here.
and then 2 away. Basically, you would result in the same second cast, right?
Yeah. Yeah, your second cast can definitely go back. I guess I'm trying to go backline first cast though, right? But this could maybe work for second cast. I would have to watch more footage.
Not to, drag things down too much or anything, but I was thinking more about the Rek'Sai thing, and I'm going to drop a screenshot in chat, and I'm curious if this particular positioning would work against it. Let me do that real fast. Sorry. Generally, basically, I'm kind of wondering if you like space the front line, you could maybe make her like jump the front line instead of jumping to the back line first. Like, is there a way to
That's true. Yeah, you absolutely could.
That's what I was thinking. Here, I just put the little screenshot in chat or voice chat if you want to see what I was thinking. But
Wait, I don't see it.
oh, the VC chat.
I don't see it.
Oh, whoops. I'll put it in general then.
Well,
Get
okay.
easier.
To me, like, if you do something like this, for example, your Rek'Sai, now the furthest unit within 3 hexes is this other Shen here. If you have three, I mean,
Oh yeah,
frontliners like this.
that's exactly what I was thinking. Actually, like the idea of like instead of having the two Shen side by side, have one like a little further, and then yeah.
I just think it's a little dangerous because if your opponent doesn't have something that holds a Shen here, it might walk away. But yeah, this is 1, 2, 3 hexes, and this would be 1.5, 2.5 for either of these Shins. This is
Right.
1.5, and then like
I didn't think about the thing about it moving, but you're right. It would be riskier than some of the other alternatives.
yeah, yeah. I think the safest thing to have to play against these units is just not to let them walk up on you. It seems. Briar, I'm not sure because Briar, I think you're right. We are concerned about her second cast if we're playing against Briar. I'll probably have to watch more footage to like. Let me see if I guess maybe Emily Wayne plays Briar with Rek'Sai, potentially, as a Slayer. Yeah, so here's a Briar on stage 4. Do we have one before then? Not a 3-1. Okay, so we have Briar here on 3-2. I think it died. I mean, the position of the Briar is, yeah, it's just dying instantly. Maybe here. So for this shield within 2 hexes will be either the Nico or the Sejuani. I assume... Okay, so now it's always a Sejuani is the furthest within 2 hexes, allegedly. And it jumps close side. Okay. I'm just gonna assume this is how it works. It's gonna be furthest within 2 hexes and it jumps close side. But I don't entirely know. So going back to what we said about opposite side Briar, let's say it walks here, it jumps to this Shen, yeah, it would jump here. And then the next one would go to this Shen in this exact positioning. I think kind of playing around second jumps is pretty not that likely just because I mean just watching those fights, right? Like by Briar's second jump, there's almost always a lot of units dead, especially because she's mana locked for 4 seconds. So I think you're really focused on first jump. Maybe if you can like get her to walk up like this, first jump will go to this Jhin here. And then let's see, opposite side. You would need her. Yeah, you would need her to like walk into their. You need her to walk into their third row, and then it'll go backline. Because unlike Rek'Sai, if we get Briar to walk here, like the Rek'Sai is 3 hex, but the Briar is only 2 hex, so now it would just jump to this Shen, and it would probably go here and attack this Shen. So yeah, I'm thinking you want Briar to walk into their third row. I've seen people do something like this to try to do that as well. But yeah, I think as a default, just putting her on the corner with like a tank here can sometimes do it. Again, I think my opponent's positioning that I'm using as an example is pretty straightforward. Like I don't think this is like that unusual to fight, and this would actually work because basically Briar will walk here and jump their backline. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We have a 2 hex and a 3 hex and a 4 hex jump. So I guess next we can talk about our 4 hex jump unit, which is
Both Fizz and Diana do it, don't they?
yeah, they're both 4 hex. Yeah, these are both the same as Supreme Solid Kali from last set, or Mentor Kobako, or Cypher Z from the set before. I have an entire guide on this. If you Google Aesah Kali positioning, it'll probably come up. I'm assuming. Yeah. I'll just pull this up because it's the same. Basically, like by default, you start here or here, and then you go 4 hexes to hit the corner. So this is like a default positioning. Then yeah, there's some other setups like people can counter it. You can counter it playing against a Kali to force her to walk up, and then it doesn't hit your corner. And then there's some like counter positionings you can do. But I don't think I need to talk too much about the 4 hex ones because they're pretty straightforward, and we're familiar with them if we've been playing the last 2 sets. But basically, yeah, the main thing you need to know is this is 4 hexes away from the corner perfectly. So starting on one of these 2 hexes is like the default, yeah.
Do you know if Fizz drops aggro like a Kali on cast?
It
says-
does say become briefly untargetable, so I assume so, yeah.
Okay, but not Diana.
Diana does not, but she gives herself a shield. Does anyone know if you need Leona on your board for this passive? Probably not, right?
No, she marks them as she hits them.
Okay.
Oh
well.
yeah, it says reading that it says your strongest Leona and strongest Diana. So I would assume that if you don't have a Leona, it's just Diana is the only thing marking. This is supposed to.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you need Leona at all.
You
Okay,
don't, but she's going to dash more times with Leona.
And hit more and dash to more.
Oh, okay, yeah. So Leona
Yeah.
and Diana are really good to play together. That makes sense. Okay.
Does the dash drop aggro though? Do you think?
I don't think it would, but oftentimes you can dash out of range. It's something that happens a lot. Like, let's say we have a Draven and he's just like attacking a Diana, and then your Diana dashes over here. He'll start attacking something else a lot of times.
So it's not like an innate aggro drop, but it will often do it for other reasons. Okay.
Yeah, that's something that happens pretty frequently. Just like all kinds of units. But I don't think it would. Like, for example, if she was being attacked and then she dashed from like here to here, she would continually be attacked. Whereas Fizz, I think, would drop aggro. Either way, 4 hex units, we're pretty familiar with them. If not, I talked pretty extensively about it with a Kali last set. So check that out for Diana and Fizz.
It also sounds like you would want Leona away from Diana so that they don't mark the same unit to maximize.
Yeah, I think Diana should hit backline very frequently on first cast. Leona hits 3 nearest enemies, which is almost always frontliners. I don't think it matters that much.
I thought Diana said something about her ability hitting the nearest non-moonlit. So like Diana's never gonna like double up because of the way her ability.
So what happens if all of the enemies within 4 hexes of Diana are moonlit?
I mean, that's a good question. I assume she would just. I mean, it doesn't really say, honestly. I don't know if anyone has like any Diana footage. I know for sure I have not played Diana yet. But I assume it would do one of 2 things. Either it would go to furthest unit in 4 hexes, similar to a Kali, or like Zed, or it would just keep on attacking the same target. I'm not sure what it would do, honestly.
Because that could be a big difference in how you want to position Leona.
Yeah, I don't think it would matter that much, honestly. Because I think, like, apart from first cast, like, all your subsequent casts get pretty fuzzy. Like, it's pretty hard to calculate, like, second, third cast, regardless. I don't think it would matter that much, honestly.
Like, for example, if the enemy has A7, let's say the enemy has their whole front line covered.
Okay.
If your Diana is on your A3,
Okay.
and Leona
So we go
is
here.
on, like, let's say Leona's on
Like here.
A1, yeah, then Leona's
so
gonna mark all the front line on that side. And if Diana goes to the middle Shen, depending on which hex, then she could go for opposite corner faster.
Yeah, like if she goes here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the reason I feel like it's not that. Yeah, I guess it is. It could change some stuff for sure. Because if you have like Leona middle, right, you would mark like these middle Shens, and then your Diana would dash like over here, actually.
Right.
Yeah, I guess it is. Could be impactful. I still think it's a little too fuzzy because I think like your first cast is almost always backline, and then your second cast is like almost always front line. Is that true? I guess if they have a full backline, maybe not. I guess I would think you want your Leona more towards the middle, because after your first cast, the most likely spot for the second cast is back towards the middle, so you want these units to be marked. But the other question is, does Diana cast 2 or 3 times before Leona? Like, do we care more about third cast? Either way, I think it's a little bit too... I think it's too fuzzy. In general, I think Leona, like, nearish the middle is fine. Maybe we can look at meta TFT win rates again. And just say, yeah, if it agrees with us, we just use it to back it up, and if not, we just say it's irrelevant. But yeah, I think it's pretty irrelevant, but in general, towards the middle is pretty good. Because that way, like, if you mark these units, Diana's more likely to go, like, this way instead of this way. That's my guess. Again, I don't think it's too important. Fizz has nothing else special, right? Yeah, Fizz is just very basic. Okay. Next unit. I put Singed in here. I don't really have that much to say about Singed, honestly. Yeah, I don't have too much to say about Singed. I feel like... Yeah, I'm not sure. He has a fighter, so tanks will take aggro over him. I'm not really sure whether you want to start him on the side or not. I believe he runs to the furthest enemy first. Like, surely I have a Singed game somewhere.
If not, you can check any of the Project PBE players that were streaming today.
Yeah, just look at Pressman.
Oh, Pressman didn't play
God.
because he got a bye. But Dish show played, and so did Weijin.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they have bots. And if not, Frodan streamed the whole thing, so he probably has bots too.
Dissoap streamed a bunch. I saw him.
Okay, here's a Singed. I think Singed runs towards the furthest enemy as his like initial targeting is what I think happens. I'm gonna look for a fight where he fights a backliner. Okay, so I think 2 Singed to watch, which is good. I think this one should run to the corner and this one should run to the Malzahar. That's my assumption, but based on what previous Singed did. But I mean, this guy kind of like spazzed out of it. I don't really know what's going on there. This guy's not running.
He's affected all by like Warwick walking up.
Yeah.
The whole like if Warwick walks up, you target.
Yeah, but like Dissoap's looked like he was running across the front line initially. He didn't go to the corner at all. He just like went, and that to me that suggests like it's trying to optimize how many things it's running through somehow.
Yeah,
because like
neither of them went to the corner.
Going across the front line like immediately poisons like 5 things or something. Like maybe there's like a largest clump logic going on there.
Yeah, I think that seems to make sense. So I mean, this one I think is the same either way. Like either way, I think it's gonna run to Ash because it's the same both ways. Oh, it's running across. Why is he going? Maybe Singed just always has to run across first. Like that's just like the rule.
Yeah, I also just watched a game where Singed ignored largest clump and first away unit and just ran to a singular bait frontline unit across.
Okay.
Well, if it's always running across, then that's also exploitable, right? Like if you assemble, like for instance, that Freljord board doesn't have a lot of units getting hit right away because it's in like a vertical column for like the Freljord tower, but maybe that's just like a position that'll be very good against Singed in general.
Yeah. So I guess, well, the thing is, I don't really understand what Singe is doing first, but what I would assume happens based on what we've seen from like 3 game sample size is Singe runs over here, and then it probably runs maybe like to Milio. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the Shun is just too unpredictable. Why did it go back down here? I have no idea. I will say
Yeah.
Singe does tag the entire board with Morello pretty fast. It's not tagging this Qiyana though. Maybe it's just too unpredictable. Because based on these games, I feel like I don't really see any super reliable patterns. It does seem like when there's a lot of frontliners, it goes across a lot. But like, why did it hit Azir before Seraphine? I don't really know. And yeah, we can see once again, like going across the front line seems pretty common. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really sure about this unit. If anyone figures anything out, let me know, because from what I can tell from watching like 7 fights, this guy's pretty unpredictable. It seems like he likes going across front line, but other than that, yeah, maybe you can just use the win percent frequency. It likes some heat. I think intuitively, intuitively, I would like him on the corner, because where Dish Soap has Singe right here, it doesn't poison this far unit, the Ambessa, when it runs across. But I feel like if you just start where the Mundo is, you can poison their entire front line in one go. That's my guess, but I'm not entirely sure. Maybe Dish Soap has a reason for this as well. I know Dish Soap is fairly positioning conscious about his units, but I could definitely see him just not having ever giving any thought to Singed ever yet. Yeah, I would think the corners are the best. Yeah, I don't know. If anyone figures out, let me know. I guess we can go ahead and move on. Swain, I think is super important to position around. From what I understand about Swain, he has a 2-hex range and a 3-hex radius. So maybe these 2 Swains will cast and we'll get some data here. And yeah, this is a really easy unit to get data for. So I think the Eye has a 2-hex range and it's a 3-hex radius, trying to hit as many units as possible. So to me, when this Swain casts, the Eye should be centered on whatever the heck this thing is, right here. I don't know what that is. What is this? I mean, I literally can't see what's happening, but I think the Eye should be like right here. Is this 2 hexes away from Swain? Or it could be right here, and then it's hitting like all of these things. So it should be in one of these 2 spots. And yeah, it's so hard to tell what's going on. I mean, this is the same, yeah. Like this also hits everything, so that's fine as well. I've watched Swain a decent bit just because I think this unit is really important. I think Swain is best on this side. Mainly because this is similar to the ability is the exact same size as Exotech Sejuani from 2 sets ago. So I actually thought Swain was better than Sejuani because like, oh, having more range is good. But I actually think having more range is bad because basically for most of your opponent's boards, I mean, this is like a late game unit, so I'm going to put in kind of like a full board. For most of your opponent's boards, they have their most important units in the corners. Let's just use Senna's, I guess, to indicate important units. But because your Swain has 2-hex range, he's almost always going to cast right here, if he can. So I think the way you can get around that is putting Swain on the corner. 2-hex range here. I guess if they have a unit here and he doesn't walk, this is a furthest his eye could go, and he would hit this. In fact, even if he starts here, 2 hex range, he would start his eyeball. I'll use a dummy, or maybe a Tibbers. The center of his eyeball will be right here, and this would stun the Lucian because it's a 3 hex radius. So 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it would stun. It would stun everything except these 2 units. So I think Swain on the side is a lot better than Swain in the middle. Not even in the middle. Like if Swain is right here, now the center of his eyeball is going to be here, or like it can be, which would stun everything except the 2 carries. As with the other things, I'm not 100% sure about Swain, but I've watched quite a bit of Swain fights. And my understanding is, 2 hex radius, 2 hex range, 3 hex radius. So you really want Swain to start closer to the side, so he doesn't put his eyeball in the middle. I guess Swain in general just needs to cast also. He needs to take 95 damage. So if you have Swain 2, just pay attention to your Swain to make sure he's casting, basically. Like if you have Swain 1 with just Juggernaut, he probably is not going to cast if he's first targeted. So you may need to protect him a bit. Swain 2, depending on what your opponent has, even if he's first targeted, Swain 2 no items with Juggernaut probably will cast, but again, you have to pay attention and make sure your Swain cast extremely, extremely, extremely important. On the other side, it's the same thing. So 2 hex radius here. The eyeball would start here and stun their carry. If we start here, 2 hex radius. I guess maybe this is better, because then the eyeball would start here and still stun their carry. Yeah, so I guess maybe like right here is a little bit better. As long as he doesn't move, you are... Oh no, this actually doesn't work, because the eyeball would be right here, and then it would stun every unit in the middle, because this is 2 hexes away. Yeah, so I think you need to start Swain on the side. So what I'm learning is, like, if you're not sure about any of these weird units, they pretty much all go on the side. Okay, next is Lux. Lux, I am not too sure about. It's a little confusing. Ball at the most enemies, so I don't know what her range is for this. And then fires a beam to enemies hit by the ball. Yeah, I feel like this is really quite confusing to me. Maybe I can watch my Lux a bit here. Stage 4. Okay, I have Lux in stage 4. That's good. Okay. So let's read Lux's ability again real fast. Most enemies, very vague. It doesn't say how wide it is. I mean, we can figure that out. And yeah, I don't know the width or the range right now. Okay, so the width is... It's just 1 hex, it seems. Like it only hit the Cho'Gath and nothing else. Is that right? Yeah, it seems like it only hit the Cho'Gath, and then the beam is like 1 hex. Okay. Interesting. I guess if you want to shoot your opponent's carries, you're very rarely going to be shooting across, so maybe somewhere more in the middle is better. I'm not sure. Her highest win rate is in the corner. Yeah, I'm not sure about Lux. I will say one thing you can do with these kind of beam abilities, Yunara is actually quite similar, is you can clump your... You should try to group up the enemy front line. Like, if these are your most important carries, you can try to position your front line something like this, and then your opponent's front line will like end up clumping up, and then your Lux can basically hit like a whole bunch of units at once when it shoots across. Same thing with Yunara. Whereas if you kind of position default like this, your Lux is probably only gonna hit like these 3 units basically. But if you kind of get them to walk up and clump, then you can maybe like hit their entire front line.
It
Which I
sounds
think-
like you're saying that like a solo front line is like, or something like that is better with those carries. It's like based on what you're showing, is that?
Yeah, I think if you have AoE on your side, you typically want the enemy. You typically want to like clump up the enemies. And if you don't have AoE, then you typically. I mean, that sounds like kind of straightforward, but I think it's not something many people, including myself, play around as much as they probably should.
So my next kind of thought is like with solo front lines, I assume you'll get into it later, but I know that they have this like hazard of getting displaced. How does that enter into your thought process? Like, or is it just kind of like a call for individual games of whether or not you need to pay attention to that?
Yeah, it's definitely scary against Set or Loris.
Okay. Wait, Loris has a displace? What?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Today I learned.
Yeah, it's a little scary against Set or Loris. Similar to like Luchador Braum from last set. I think once you play this set enough, you'll just look out for those units. Because like against Luchador Braum, you would just like put a bait unit or whatever. Even if you're even if you're playing something like Stoneplate Frontline the entire game, I think everyone in here by the end of last set knew if you're going against Braum, you would just not do this. So yeah, I mean, yeah, basically if you have AoE on your team, clump up your opponent. Pretty straightforward. All right, I'm glad I'm learning a lot about these units because normally when playing the game, there's so much to think about, and watching how like every individual unit works has not been my top priority. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. So I'm learning a lot. Yeah, let's get into some 5 costs, and then we can go back. This went a little bit faster than I expected, honestly. We can go back and look at some of the units that I was kind of like about, but the 5 costs I want to look at. Ziggs. I don't know what Ziggs' range is. Is this guy just infinite range?
I feel like when he lands, the couple times I've seen him, I feel like he hits the whole board. I don't know about the range of the bomb itself, but the bomb, it feels like it's just a whole full board hit, or
Yeah.
darn near.
Yeah, the bomb is 4 hex impact. So I have a Ziggs here. Is he going to cast in this fight? Hopefully. I don't have any items on him. I don't know if he's going to cast. He died as fighting 3-star Renekton.
Did set 15 Seraphine go whole board?
I can't
Ziggs is
remember,
kind of modeled
honestly.
after her, right?
I don't feel like she did. Like, I felt like I could position to like not get hit by having like a clump on one side but not the other. But it's possible
She didn't hit the whole board, like, because she would fire, but she could fire from like the whole board from one spot, like she wouldn't have to move to fire.
She had basically infinite range on like the projectile, but not the blast. Say,
well, because like
Yeah, I mean,
at like regionals, everyone was praying like, is it going to hit my carrier, or is it going to hit something else?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, 4 hex range is just pretty big. So let's just say, how can we? I don't know why I'm using dummies now. Let's use actual carry units. Shin, Senna's. Okay, so let's use some actual. Let's say we are trying to not get our. We are trying to not get our Senna's hit by this. So it hits a 4 hex radius and largest clump. Let's just assume for now that it can hit the whole board. 4 hex let's say, I mean, realistically, we can probably only protect one carry. So let's say we do this. Will this get hit? It could land 1, 2, 3. Wait. 4 hex group. This is 3. Let me push in here. So go back a second here. It's gonna be a little hard to tell.
I don't think the Anivia is getting hit.
Oh, I think the Anivia is definitely getting hit.
Really?
Yeah.
I see like crit thing. No, the one in the other corner.
Oh, this no. Yeah, I mean, I think this is way farther than 4 hex.
Yeah, so there's
I mean,
that.
the bomb explosion is 4 hex.
Oh, okay. So you're like opposite corner is safe, but same side, probably not.
Okay, so let's just say the bomb is here, for example.
Can you
It
tell
would
where the
hit-
center of that Ziggs bomb was in that video? Because if the bomb is dropped
That's true, yeah.
further than 4 hexes, then we can assume it's just anywhere on the map, right?
That is true, yeah. I think the center of the bomb, so basically this is the furthest hit point, and then the furthest hit point looks like it's here to me. Or wait, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's really hard to tell. 1, 2, 3. I'm a little bit confused about. So this is a center.
Well, that's about 4 hexes away from Zig, like 3 or 4 hexes away from Ziggs himself.
Yeah, I guess if the center is here, this is 3 hexes. Well, oh, sorry, I'm just looking at the explosion radius for now. So basically, let's just say this Tibbers is the center, right? So both Anivias here would be hit. They're both 4 hexes away. I mean, this Anivia would be hit. I mean, this is, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be hit. This Lucian would be hit as well. So yeah, it's basically the whole board, but it does seem that you actually can protect a unit in the opposite corner.
So long as the biggest clump is kind of center-ish.
Yeah, and then if the bomb is in the middle here, then your corner on this side will be safe. So I guess if you kind of cluster your front line and other units away from your carry, you can dodge Ziggs. I think it's probably not. I feel like it's pretty rare to be like, okay, I need to position against Ziggs specifically. All right. Okay, so I think Ziggs is probably not too important to think about, but if your opponent has a really strong Ziggs, then yeah, just put your front line away from your main carry. So I mean, this is I think we're all like pretty familiar with Is this the 50-50? Yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, just try to make sure your carry is as alone as possible. Something like this. Ziggs is also like a gajillion mana unit, 160. So he just doesn't really cast that early in the fight. Units almost always move around by the time he casts. Okay, next up is T-Hex. T-Hex, I think, is pretty tricky. I personally have not played around T-Hex yet. I don't really know where the best place to put his guy is, but I think we've been talking about the meta TFT percentages. I think it's much more reliable for a unit like T-Hex. If you have T-Hex, you're probably playing around it. So I think like looking at the percentages here are more reliable.
I've played around T-Hex once, and I was playing with Seraphine, and they both do AoE, so it seems like there's some synergy in how you want to position them together.
Yeah. I mean, the sample sizes are really low, but it seems like, I mean, the sample size is really low, but it seems like it likes these two hexes the most. I feel like intuitively that can make sense. Most people don't have a unit here, so if like you are attacking this unit, you might like laser across a lot of the board. Yeah, I don't know. I know Disrupt didn't play any T-Hex games. I don't know how easy it will be to find one. I know there was one in the top 2 of his lobby. One of his lobbies. But I also know he didn't play any, so it might be kind of hard to find. If I don't find it this game, I'll just move on. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. Either way, it seems like it likes one of these two positions. Not sure. Okay, next up is... I mean, Siobhan's pretty straightforward. I put her in my list, but I don't really think we need to talk about her. I think you just put her in the front. Because she... Yeah, you just put her somewhere in the front, next to a tank. I don't think it matters too much. Okay, last unit I want to talk about is Mel. I think Mel is the... I was watching this tournament, and I feel like people are putting in their Mel in the wrong spot, like, literally all day long. Mel is the most simple, I would say, unit. She's single target, and then her radius is 3 hexes. So I feel like... Yeah, I feel like I kept watching people doing, like, really bad Mel positionings. I mean, Pressman is rank 1 on Project PvE, but I kept seeing him put his Mel and hit like nothing with it. Pretty sure he played in the first game here. Or maybe third game.
You just want to center her?
Yeah, I
That's
think
what
you
I
want
feel.
Mel in the middle. Because I was seeing this a lot where let me see when he unlocks Mel. Yeah, I was seeing this a lot where he's cornering his Mel, and you can see that, first of all, the rotating orb is not hitting that many units. But also, when it actually fires its blast, it's going to be centered only on like one half of the map.
Is Mel another one of those units, like, since she has this, like, tight AoE with the orb rotating or whatever, is she another one where, like, clumping their front line is good? Because, like, I would imagine if you could, like, pull them into a clump and, like, orbit through the clump a bunch or something, that would be strong? Get a lot
Yeah,
of stuff? Is she one of those?
I think so. I'm actually a little bit not sure about what I just said because it actually does hit the back line from here, which is actually pretty good. I'm not sure. But like, it's definitely hard to know what to prioritize because you can see like this orb is just hitting like the shield on the side, and it's like not doing that much. I was seeing this a lot, where it's just like hitting almost nothing on the side here, like once again. But it's hard to say because this does allow you to hit their corner. So I'm not sure, because if you do Mel in the middle, you're definitely not hitting their corner. I guess we can see what Meta TFT thinks is the highest win rate. Again, I think this is not super useful information, but it does seem like the corner, or like sorry, it likes middle, which to me makes the most sense. Because hitting things with the orbs also gives your Mel more mana. And I think like with a 200 mana cast after Mel cast, you're not really trying to snipe their backline with Mel, right? Like after your Mel cast, the fight should be over very shortly after, even if you didn't hit their backline at all. So to me, I think Mel needs to be in the middle. I've been seeing a lot of people put their Mels in the corner. In fact, if you look at the frequencies, most people are putting their Mel in the corner. To position against this, I think you just put like, if you just put a really strong tank here, and then like the rest of your front line is over here, and your carry is opposite side, pretty much nothing gets hit by Mel. It's 3 hex radius, so it only hits like these 3 units here. In this kind of positioning.
Also,
You were
Mel,
talking about.
ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, but I was thinking about how with the rotating orbs, you're saying how like that gives her mana, but if I recall, that her draining mana through those rotating orbs is also the counter for her to give you a radiant item. So even if it did hit backline, like that's still like optimizing to hit more things with that rotating orb is going to get you the radiant item payout faster, which would matter if you got her early and you're like hoping to get that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what
that's
I was gonna
true.
say too. It could give you the radiant item like 2 to 3x faster.
Yeah. How many of you have gotten the Radiant from Mel? I feel like the Radiant is not worth playing around most of the time.
I've done it like a couple times, but like I guess it's just like I said, it's if you get it early because it does take a while. So I would assume if you've somehow unlocked her early, and thus that's more of like a realistic thing, then it makes sense to opt for it.
Strangely enough, the times that I've played around Mel, like recently, I've not come anywhere close to getting it. But like back at the beginning of PB, I feel like I just had a Mel on my board, and I was like surprised at how quickly I actually got it. And I don't remember what I was playing, but I don't think I had her itemized, and I feel like I did not have her that long, and somehow it cashed quickly. So maybe it was like some sort of invoker board or something like that. That was just
it might have been
giving her a
changed.
bunch of extra casts.
I remember being very surprised by it too, but I also know that like back early in PB, like they buffed the amount of time it takes for her to get that first radiant. It used to be 250, it's 235 now. Like they, dinged it down a little. But because it's like you said, like an invoker board could make it faster. Also, apparently, the adaptive also multiplies it. So like if you have an adaptive on her, it would make sense that like optimizing for the mana drain would also be a big deal because that's like the only item that accelerates that mana drain. So you want to multiply against it if you can.
If you assume a 25-second fight, that would be 25, drain 25 mana. But if you're hitting 3 units, that's 75. You get it in like 3.5 rounds versus like, what is that, like 9+ rounds?
Well, she doesn't throw out the orb right away, right? Because if we just watch like this fight, for example, like she throws out her first orb after like a while.
Oh.
I mean, I still think learning's got a point in so much as like if you're hitting 3 things instead of 1.
So she throws out her first orb at 23 seconds.
Oh wow, that's really slow.
But yeah, I mean, I think like we all agree, like middle Mel is like in general, like is what we're all saying here.
Oh yeah.
But I will say, like, if you look at the frequency, most people by far are putting Mel in the corners. So I guess like if you flip the board, right? Like let's say we're playing against a Mel player. I think if you position like this, it's only hitting this side of the board. If you have a strong tank in front of the Mel, and then you also prevent her from gaining mana. So I think if you're playing against Mel, definitely look to do something like this. I mean, obviously, hopefully you have like 2 strong tanks because you want a tank in front of your carry as well. And then yeah, the board is flipped. Same thing. Mel here is only going to hit like this part of the board. But yeah, like her first orb comes out. This is even with Shojin and Void Staff. and then her second orb comes out like now, right? Like it's still pretty late. Either way, I think if you have a really early Mel, you can maybe think about the Radiant, but I wouldn't really play around the Radiant that much. I would probably just like default middle Mel, which is like the best of both worlds anyway. I think that's all the units. Oh, Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks, I think, is also 2-hex range, as far as I can tell. I've paid a decent amount of attention to Fiddlesticks. I think he's 2-hex jump range and 2-hex stun range. So basically, Fiddlesticks will. He's also 2-hex attack range, meaning Fiddlesticks is basically never going to stun your enemy backline. So I think the best spot for Fiddlesticks is just going to be somewhere near the middle, which is kind of supported by Meta TFT's data. I guess let's take out the frontline units so we can see those. It seems it actually likes frontline a little bit better, especially I guess if you have a tank next to Fiddle, then it doesn't matter if he gets targeted. It doesn't really like frontline better. Either way, it doesn't seem it matters. I think like somewhere near the middle, because he can only jump 2 hexes and stun 2 hexes anyway. You're never hitting their backline, so you might as well like hit as many frontline units as you can. I think in the mirror matchup, if you have items, like if they have items and you don't, then maybe you want your Fiddle on the side so your Fiddle doesn't get stunned by their Fiddle. But Fiddle's a very low mana unit, 30 out of 70, so even if your opponent has something like Swain, your Fiddle is probably going to cast first, so I wouldn't really worry about dodging. I wouldn't really be worried about your Fiddle getting being in danger in the middle, unless your opponent also has a Fiddle. I can't really think of that many other units that would threaten it. Just because he's such a low mana unit that he's probably going to teleport in pretty early. I believe his trait also gives him mana, although this is not very much mana. Okay, I think that's all the units I want to talk about. Let's talk about Freljord Tower real fast. So Freljord Tower is the 2 adjacent hexes, and then it alternates like 3-2, 3-2, like this. If you put it in the front, it's the other way around, where it's like 3, then 2. It'll be like 3, then 2, then 3, then 2, like this. I think we already saw this when we were flipping through footage, but I've seen a lot of people full greed the Freljord. I think it's a pretty big mistake to put your entire board in it, and we've already seen like some of the downsides where like Singe tags your entire board instantly, Swain stuns your entire board, Mel, who we were just talking about, hits your entire board. Yeah, so I guess I would just say like probably don't put your entire board in it. If you are playing around something where you want to clump the enemy front line, I posted this in my Yunara guide. I think I took this positioning from TFT Academy for Yunara, where I like something like this, where it's like you're not greeting the Freljord buff on your Yunara, which is fine because 3 Freljord is only 10% damage amp, which is not bad. Like 10% damage amp is definitely not nothing, but I think having all your units clumped in the tower is not worth it. So I really like a positioning kind of like this. I would change a few things around, which I already talked about in my guide, but something like this is pretty much ideal. Freljord units gain extra, so you really want the Freljord units in it. I think Ashe you don't care about that much, so you're okay with this. And then, yeah, I've seen a lot of people try to greed like their entire board in it, or like try to greed. I mean, I was definitely tempted to do this intuitively, like try to greed like your main carry and your main tank in it. So one way you could do that is something like this. You would kind of hit like all your important units. and then like your filler units would just be on the other side. I think like something like this is okay as well. But if you want to clump their front line, I like this TFT Academy positioning in the middle.
Question about the frozen tower. In most instances, I've seen it being placed in like the first 2 rows. But I have seen that it extends all the way ahead of it and behind it, no matter what row you put it in. Is there, and like this can effectively modulate how many squares you get of like HP versus damage amp. And I'm kind of curious if there's any optimization to be had around that. I mean, I haven't really figured it out myself, but I'm kind of like curious if there's just something I'm not.
So I would say, I mean, you get so many hexes. I don't really care about how many hexes you get, but I would say there's 2 important things about the Frozen Tower. One is it's a target dummy, so you really don't want it in the back because you want to tank for your units. The second important thing is the same thing. Like, because it's a target dummy, if it gets focused first, it's going to drop aggro. So I've seen people have something like, I guess Warwick is something that's played with Freljord a lot. I've seen people position like, maybe they have like their main tank here. I mean, I haven't seen like any like really high-level players do this, but I have seen this in my games, and like this is a problematic because your opponent's carry is going to kill this tower, and then this tower is dead, and then it can focus your carry next. So I guess like the 2 things to keep in mind is it's a squishy unit that's going to drop aggro when it dies, but it's also like still a target dummy, so you want it like in the front.
Okay, your comment about dropping aggro actually led me to a different question about like a different unit that I'd like if you could talk about or if you have thoughts about. When I'm playing Ishtal, Nidalee has a special interaction with Nico. Yeah, and I didn't read it carefully and got screwed by this because of like the aggro thing once people walked up to my carry. But I'm kind of curious if there's like a way to take advantage of that. Because obviously, it doesn't even say it there. Actually, no, it's her Huntress trait. Yeah.
Nidalee is really buggy right now, but I would say like since she can't be targeted, I would generally not worry too much about Nidalee.
I think in my cases, I was like had a solo frontline Nico and then like had Nidalee on one side and thought like, oh, they'll aggro the Nidalee first. And that got me in trouble. Obviously, like that's a very specific situation, but it's just, is there some way, I'm just trying to think if there's some way you can like take advantage of it or like how I should be thinking about that, because clearly the autopilot thing I'm doing does not work well.
Yeah, I don't think you need to think about Nidalee too hard. When I played this, I tried like pulling.
I think I saw mentioned on X, I forget, that if the enemy's playing like a full front line, like let's say a Slayer board or something, then I believe if your Nidalee is A7, then
that is the highest win rate. If
their A1 is like Aatrox or something, then it cannot target Nidalee and it just gets stuck.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I think that's really smart.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. See, this is the tech.
Yeah, I think that's really smart.
Huh.
I've seen it today too.
Well, and also like the Nico Vi Nidalee thing, like the Ishtal reroll regularly plays that. So like, yeah, that's like, and even if it's not a full front line, that would make the A7 unit have to like walk around, and like that's still good to make them waste a bunch of time.
Yeah, full frontline just means the hex next to it, because if the hex next to it is filled, it sucks for the Aatrox.
Yeah.
Which it would be on like the Bellwether board, usually.
Huh. Well, yeah, I had not thought of that one. Thank you.
Yeah, I've also noticed Nidalee does some weird things with targeting as well. I was watching this fight where if you watch the Annie, she's just attacking the Nico pretty straightforwardly. So you would think this Annie should never move until this Nico is dead. Because again, like the Nidalee basically doesn't exist. But I'm not entirely sure what's going on here. It's quite confusing because the Annie walks up twice, and then I think she even walks up again. So I'm not exactly sure what's going on here. But either way, because Nidalee is basically untargetable, I think as a default you just put her on the side. I have also tried like pulling your opponent's tanks to one side and then trying to wrap their backline with Nidalee. I think in practice this doesn't really work that much because she'll just aggro whatever unit is over here, and then as this unit walks, she'll just follow that unit because they're just ignoring the Nidalee. But yeah, I think blocking out this Hex is very good for sure. Otherwise, yeah, basically just leave Nidalee on left or right. I will say another thing about Huntress is a lot of times we're playing it with 3-star Nico, but because Nidalee becomes targetable when Nico dies, if you're playing like some sort of tempo Ishtal or whatever, you do want to protect your Nico because protecting it protects your Nidalee.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying like if you only have a 2-star Nico for some reason,
Yeah,
that's not as tanky.
Yeah, like no item 2-star Nico or even 1-star. I guess you would never have 1-star Nico with Nidalee. That would never happen.
Aesah, in that video that you showed with the 3-star Nico, do we know if the hypothesis I have is maybe when Nico jumps in the air with her ability, does she become briefly like untargetable? Like, can you attack her while she's like jumping in the air?
Oh, when Nico jumps in the air.
Yeah.
That would be very strange to me, given that she's a tank. I don't really know why. Like to me, this is like unexplainable. I feel like it has to do with Nidalee specifically, because I think Nico is just a very, very basic unit that's been in many sets. That's just like she's never had this issue before.
It's possible that like the way Nidalee's coded, there's something where it's like something's picking her up as a target and then dropping aggro. It's like not so much a untargetable, just like an auto drop aggro, and that maybe explains like the walk up behavior because it's like targeting, but then not targeting. It's like a bunch of target swaps happening. Maybe I don't know. We can only speculate.
Yeah, I mean, I think something like that's
like
very
you said.
likely.
But yeah.
Obviously, Nidalee is a very unique unit.
Yeah.
Nico is a very simple unit. I mean, regardless, I think it's very similar to what we said about putting Mel in the middle. Like best of both worlds, just put your Nidalee either here or here.
Yeah.
Either way.
Okay. Yeah, that answers my question. So thanks. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'll probably wrap it up here. I think that covers like most of the most important units. There are like some other kind of minor stuff that I didn't talk about. I'm sure there's some way to optimize like TF cards. But most of these are you're just trying to hit a line across. So yeah, wrap it up here. Yeah, thanks for coming, everyone.
Thanks, Aesah.
Thanks.
Aesah.
Thanks. Yeah,
See ya.
thanks. Appreciate it. Bye.